In this video we'll take a look at Microsoft Excel, the latest version released for 2019 through Office 365. And when you open it up and create a new workbook or a new Excel file, you get a number of options, loads of different templates to select from. We're going to build a very simple project budget template or project budget and use that as an example in this exercise, but in the video we'll assume that you're starting from Excel completely from scratch, so we'll try and set the basic parameters in which you can learn Excel, or you can have an understanding of what Excel is. Excel is probably the one of the most popular spreadsheet tools available. And as you can see, there are a wealth of options when you open up a new workbook. Since we're going to do a project budget, if we look at other online templates that might be available, put in project budget, see what comes up, you'll see an awful lot of budget related things will come up, and in various different areas, and results for other office applications as well. So if we go back, we're actually just going to start completely from scratch with a blank workbook, and just to explain what you're being presented with. So we get a number of ribbons across the top with various options that you can take. So the home ribbon is the default, there's an insert ribbon, a page layout ribbon, formula ribbons, various other sorts of ribbons you will be supplied. So the tab will point to different ribbons. Within a ribbon we can see various different groups. So we've got a clipboard group, a font group, an alignment group, a number group, and a styles group in that home page. In one or two of them there is a little icon in the corner that actually indicates there may be more options, and if we click on that it gives us what the additional options might well be for that particular group. And allows you to select and look at those. And there are other things that can be included in terms of actions that Excel can do that can appear on customized ribbons, but we'll look at that in more detail in a later video. But remember, there are a number of different tabs across the top. Those tabs will open ribbons, which is the area with all the icons across, and within ribbons there are a number of different groups, and in the groups there are options and actions that can be carried out. So having done that, looking at Excel itself, any spreadsheet is always built with a number of columns and a number of rows, and each individual box is called a cell and can be referenced by its column and row description. So the particular cell I'm on there is called B4, and if I flick across to this one I'm on J8. So you can individually name any of the cells, and because you can do that, you can then do actions with those cells and use them to create various different things. So let's actually begin to put some data in. So we're going to put in simple project budget. So I've typed that in, and let's say I'm going to have name, a rate, and total days that person is involved in a project. So I've got Sam Smith, Sue White, Bill Black, Fred Green, and Jill Pink. So those are some of the people that are involved in our project. As we type these in, as you can see, when you press enter, it will go down to the next row. If you want to go across, you'd press tab. If you'd pressed enter and you wanted to go back up, you can do shift enter and it will go back up. And similarly, if you're tabbing across and you do shift tab, it will go the other way. In Excel, there are a number of different ways of doing the same sort of thing. You can also click to any field you want to go to, and you're not limited to the number of rows we can see on the screen at this particular point in time. You can see more detail by zooming in. So if we zoom in, you can see a little bit more detail on our screen, so we'll zoom in to be able to see that. And when you've typed into a box, in that particular one, that cell, it looks like the title is overlapping into the next cell. But if I was to click on the next cell, you can see there's nothing in it. So if I was to put in something in that, it will appear as if it's over the top of the previous cell. Now, to make it look nice and neat and set the width exactly to the cell, one of the ways you can do it is go between the two cells and double click, and it will adjust the cell to the size of the text or contents of that cell. And let us say we want to change the rate column and reduce that, and change the number of days column. So we'll put in some rates, so 300, 200, 100, 200, 250. And we'll put in a total number of days for each person. So 55, 25, 30, 32, and 21. So we've got a list of a very simple list of what people's rates are and what days are, but really we probably want to do more than that, and although we're only doing a very simple budget, we perhaps want to have an overall cost for our project. So an overall cost, at this stage we have to do some calculations. So let's look at beginning to do a calculation. So if I put in cost per person, the cost is simply the rate times the total number of days. So to do that, I'm going to put equal, because I want to put in a calculation in there, and I want to actually take that the rate, and times in Excel is star, and times by the number of days. So simply you can see that the actual mathematics is very easy, very simple, very easy to enter. We'll enter that in, and I could then type in the formula again for exactly the same way for the next row down for those. But an easy way to duplicate a formula down, having created that formula and I want it in exactly the same format, if you put the mouse over the bottom right hand corner of a cell, you'll see the cursor change to a little plus rather than a large plus symbol, and you can drag that down and it will actually repeat that calculation. So if I was to look on row 5, I can see that it's now taking B5 times C5 to give me my rate. And a quick scan across all those, you can see that they make sense. Right, and now I want to look at a rate, the actual cost for the whole project. So cost for the whole project for people in my project, assuming it's those 5 people, I need to add all of those together. So let's introduce another concept, which is a special built-in formula called sum. So if I type in sum, it prompts me for what I want to sum. So it's prompt me for all the different types of things that contain sum. So I just want to do a straightforward sum, and I will click on that, and it will give me a list of numbers. If I click on the insert function button, it's going to give me some details of the numbers I want to sum up. So and we're going to put in not just one number, but all of those 5 numbers in one go. So because we want to put in what's called a range of numbers, you put in the start number for the range is D1, which is the D3, which is the name of that cell, and we want to continue the sum all the way down to D7. So that's actually just summed up D3 and D7. So to be able to paint that as a range, you put in a colon, which actually suggests that colon, not a semicolon, that suggests we're looking at a whole range. And that ranges can be named separately in exactly the same way that we can name any cell, we can name any range. And now we've got a total for the project itself. It's kind of a bit bland and the formatting's not terribly good, so let's say we want to do some change in formatting, and we want to change that title and make it bold to stand out, and we'll center it across the work we're doing. So we'll take that, and we can use a special tool which is merge and center, which merges those cells, and A1 is now extended across that range, and it kind of looks a little better in presentation. We'll take the titles and we'll do some shading, so we can colour that in so that it looks a little better. And ideally we want to put in some currency markers, and we're working in pounds, so let's change the format there and actually put in some currency to that. So look in format to format the cells, and I'm going to format them as currency, and I don't want any decimal place, so, and I'll format those all as currency as well. Right, as a final point, in terms of the columns, I actually maybe want to center that particular one, so I'll center it across that column, and I'm going to highlight all of my data, and I now want to make sure that they fit the column widths nicely and neatly and efficiently. So one of the ways I can adjust all column widths is, again, if I've selected more than one column or more than one row at a time, any action I will take will affect all the selected items in one go. So you can see I've changed those widths altogether. So if I want to make it so that they fit nicely and just exactly to the distance, if I double click between any one of the two columns within the range I've highlighted, you can see it's now nicely adjusted everything to fit ideally within the columns as I would expect. So that's our simple budget. Look out for actually painting a project budget over time in Excel and how we can do that. It's one of the other videos we've got, and we have videos on other subjects within Microsoft Project and other project related and project management related tools. Thank you.